Hello and welcome witches old, young and brand new. My name is Laura and today we're going to go through step by step 10 top tips to becoming a witch. These tips are certainly not definitive and there are many different ways of exploring witchcraft. These are just 10 tips that I think will help you, that I wish I were given when I first started out. So get comfortable, grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee and let's begin. Tip 1. Know the basics. The term witchcraft seems to be used quite broadly in the modern day and really just refers to the practice of creating spells and using magic. It can encompass a wide range of different beliefs and practices, and anyone practicing witchcraft is known as a witch. A witch, for example, can have no faith at all, or they might also be a practicing Wiccan, pagan or Christian. Different forms of magical practice can be used. For example, one witch might only use herbs in their spell making, whereas someone else might use crystals, tarot cards or other forms of divination. There is no one size fits all when it comes to witchcraft and practicing as a witch. Throughout the video, we'll just be going over general tips for witchcraft as opposed to going through a deep dive and exploring each and every one of the different religions and spiritual beliefs. Tip number 2. Google is your best friend. Now, as I've mentioned previously, witchcraft is indeed a very broad term and covers so many aspects of spellwork, traditions, beliefs and practices. As a witch, you might want to experiment with different herbs and ingredients, candles and colour magic, crystal work, or you might want to explore the history of witchcraft. And of course, each country will have its own rich history. If you're not sure how you'd like to practice magic, do have a good Google and see what's out there. Of course, you don't have to research absolutely everything before embarking on your witchcraft journey, but it could really help you steer towards a path of your choosing. Tip number 3. You don't need to join a coven. A coven is simply a group of witches that come together to practice spells, share knowledge and support each other. A coven could be in your local area, perhaps in a village hall or in a cafe where people can get together and perform spells and share ingredients. Or, and what is becoming ever increasingly more popular, are online covens. This can be as a private Facebook group, or people might get together for a video chat over Discord, have discussions and share tips and tricks. A coven could be as little as 3 people, or there might be hundreds. I can see how joining one would be very beneficial in terms of sharing knowledge and being part of a tight-knit community, but it certainly isn't needed for someone to become a witch and practice witchcraft. You're just as able to do so in the privacy of your own home and in your own time. Tip number 4. Explore your local community. You may have found a few covens online, you may have joined some Facebook groups, and you may have had a good look on Google to further your knowledge. However, you may be surprised to discover what might be in your local area. I found that throughout the UK are tons of tiny, wonderful little witch shops, all hiding in corners of villages and towns, selling an array of wonderful magical items such as wands, anthems, or even spell or herb kits. Some shops might even host their own workshops. Me and Sam went to one recently for beginners witchcraft, and it was a truly wonderful experience. Or you might even come across a little market stall where someone is selling incense and crystals. Or if you think you might be into herbology, there's often local people giving away free plants or cuttings on places like Facebook Marketplace. I've even found free plants left outside someone's house before. Tip number 5. Explore your local wildlife. Speaking of herbology and plants, the natural world around us is a wonderful way to connect to nature and to Mother Earth and the universe, and it's entirely free. Depending on where you live, you may be able to find an array of different plants and herbs to use in your magic. You might find gorse flowers on windswept dunes, or rose hips, or wild garlic if you live near a pond or river. Mushrooms are in abundance in the forest, as are a host of different trees and flowers. You may even find some feathers, bones or antlers. If you live by an estuary or the ocean like me, you might be lucky enough to find fossils, crystals, seashells or sea glass that you can use in a variety of different ways. Just always remember to forage responsibly. You never trespass and always leave somewhere a better place than you found it in. If you don't live near any kind of nature or it's hard for you to get away and travel, then this next tip is very important. Tip number 6. You will need nothing. You don't actually need anything at all to be able to practice witchcraft. There are in fact many different ways that you could explore and learn more about yourself or the world around us by implementing practices that have been done for thousands of years in different cultures. You could spend time outdoors, take your shoes off and connect with Mother Earth under the moonlight with a glass of water if you wanted to use moon magic. Or you could learn to interpret your dreams, discover the messages your inner conscious is trying to tell you. You could also learn to meditate or practice visualization. With an online world absolutely full of shops and ways of buying magical items such as wands or cauldrons or crystals or candles, it can be very easy to get drawn into the idea of having to buy a collection of things to aid you in your witchcraft. Whilst this can of course be very beneficial in helping you reach your goals and intentions, it's by certainly no means necessary in order for you to begin your practice. Tip number 7. Creating a magical space. Many witches have what is known as an altar. This is essentially a dedicated space in someone's home where they display their magical items and can be used as a space to practice spell work. It can essentially be as elaborate or as plain or as simple as you want it to be, or you might not even want one. It's just a nice way to have all of your tools and ingredients together in one space. Some people like to lay theirs out in a certain way in order to make their spells more effective and more powerful. They might want to display their crystals in a certain way or use iconography or statues that represent their beliefs, such as sigils, paintings of the World Tree or the Green Man, or a statue of Odin or Hecate. It could be a shelf on your bookshelf, or you could have an entire table dedicated to your space. Some people like to have an altar cloth, sometimes with a ceramic plate or a bowl, or a cast iron cauldron on top, so they don't burn this when they're performing candle magic. Others like to use this space to do tarot readings. It could be used as a space to keep all of your favourite things together, such as a particular coloured candle for candle magic, or your favourite necklace. However you like to decorate your space, it is entirely personal to you. Tip number 8, keep a grimoire or a journal. A grimoire is essentially a compendium of knowledge, a way to record all information to refer back to for future use. The famous grimoire is the Key of Solomon, written by a king as instruction on how to summon spirits and how to perform spell work. Your own grimoire could just be a plain old A5 notebook that you use to note down all of your favourite things that you've researched on Google, or favourite things you've learnt by watching videos on YouTube. Or it could be more like a dream journal, where you write down your thoughts or interpret those strange dreams that you've been having recently. You might want to record what ingredients you use in your favourite spells, or the properties of local herbs. I use mine to record the meanings of my different crystals and herbs that I have in my kitchen. A grimoire is just a really great way of ensuring that all of the key information for your spell work is kept together so you don't forget anything. Tip number 9. Define your goals and intentions. Ultimately, witchcraft is an ever-evolving and growing journey, so make sure that whatever you do, and however you choose to practice your journey, it is entirely personal to you. Perhaps you want more clarity in your life, perhaps more financial success. You might want to practice self-love spells, in which case you might like to use rose quartz, pink candles or dandelions. Or perhaps you just want to explore the ancient history of your local culture and have a deeper connection with the world around you. There is no wrong way of being a witch, so whatever you choose to do what is best for you. Number 10 is a bit of a cop-out, but this is the most important tip for me, and that is to just have fun. Have fun with exploring your practice and experimenting with different spells, herbs and ingredients. Have fun, whether that is by joining an online coven over Discord, attending meetings at your local village hall, or just spending time with yourself at home. I'm very happy that you've decided to consider witchcraft and become more in tune with yourself. Do let me know in the comments your top tip for becoming a witch. I love you.